Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The DRFBets Race of the Day for Friday, June the 21st. Race number 7 at the great race place, Santa Anita. We're going 1 mile on the turf. This is an optional claiming race for 3-year-olds. Remember the money back offer for DRFBets members. Bet this race through DRFBets. Bet $7 more specifically to win on any one horse in the race. And if your selection finishes second or third, you get your money back. Learn more at promos.drf.com. Let's meet the field for Friday's Race of the Day, and you can access free formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take this field in post position order, Matt, beginning with the number 1, Contagion. A couple of changes here for Contagion. Dirt to turf, first time gelding, stretching out in distance, and we know this guy's got a little bit of speed.
Yeah, from the inside, I think you have to assume he's going to go right to the front. Both of his lifetime victories, essentially gate-to-wire fashion. The big concern for me is just from a numbers standpoint, he's on the light side. You brought up the gelding situation, though. Maybe this is an instance where he can jump up in a big way, getting first time going out there after the clipping. To me, he's not one that I'm really anxious to be betting on here, but 8-1, I suppose, is a fair price if you think he is controlling speed from the rail.
It really is kind of the key to the race, isn't it? And Timeform US believes that the 1 Contagion does have a bit of an advantage as we take a peek at the Timeform US pace projector. Blue bar situation in Timeform US parlance, that favors horses on or near the early lead, and the 1 Contagion has a rather clear early lead, so he might not be going fast and he might be uncontested, and he has won over course and distance in the past. The number 2 is Knoll Day, who really took to turf nicely on May the 3rd for John Sheriffs. That was a rock solid maiden win. I didn't think he got a lot of pace to run at that day. He came from off of it, and the 5th place finisher, Proud Pedro, we'll get to in a little bit. That horse came back to really improve when he graduated.
Yeah, and he humbled Proud Pedro that day. Now, granted, we'll talk about Proud Pedro and the reasons perhaps he jumped up as big as he did in that most recent run. But Knoll Day, I liked everything about that run. First time going 2 turns on turf anyway. First time on grass, period. And I liked that he didn't seem like he was headstrong. He rated kindly and off the pace when he finally was able to get out and declare. I just like the way that he finished. He got his final quarter in 22.93. And I think in a race like this, I agree with the pace projector. If you're telling me that he's going to sit just off the one horse, who I think may have some quality questions, and he's going to get the jump on a Proud Pedro or any of the other closers, I just think he's got a giant edge.
You just said an absolute mouthful. I agree with you 1,000%. If you think Contagion, an ex-$20,000 maiden claimer, just isn't right for this spot, you see the number 2 Knoll Day sitting in second, and he might take this thing over when the real racing begins. Now let's move over to the number 3, Proud Pedro. He improved with blinkers last time out, although he really got a hot pace setup. It was interesting that the final time of that 9-furlong race was actually faster than a pretty salty older group of non-winners of 2 other than ran 9 furlongs the same day on the turf at Santa Anita, and I think it had to do everything to do with the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is one of those things. I mean, you see the blinkers go on, so perhaps that helped him out as well. But look, his 2 big runs here in the United States both came with hot paces. You go to that run 2 starts back where Knoll Day defeated him. Not a lot of speed there that day for a horse that does his running from the back. He's going to be compromised. My concern is, okay, he fits in here from a number standpoint. Is he going to get the pace that he needs to really accentuate that late kick of his? I could see him coming along, putting in a big bid, but because maybe there's a lack of speed early on, maybe he can only settle for a minor award.
Might be a completely different situation than last time, where they went fast early. It's set up for Proud Pedro. Timeform US believes he'll be trailing the field after the first half mile in a situation that favors horses close to the pace. I think the 4 Tikkun Olam has a bit of an outside chance here, Matt, at a bit of a price. I think he's been compromised by the lack of pace in his 2 starts this form cycle. Maybe he's a little cheap. His only win came for a $50,000 maiden tag, but the blinkers are coming off for this barn. And again, if the pace is relatively fair, I'd like to see this horse maybe crack the board at a price.
Yeah, I could see him getting a piece of this thing. My concern is kind of what you alluded to. Maybe he's a little bit on the cheap side. I feel like if he can get back to an effort similar to that one from March the 1st, maybe he's in with a chance where he can get a minor award here. I don't know that he can threaten to win this, but again, if you're using and if you're looking for prices in any of the exotics, maybe he's one to consider.
Another horse that might have to overcome this pace scenario is the number 5, Power Down. But Power Down has some excuses, I guess, for both starts in North America. First time going 5 furlongs, perhaps a bit short for him, and second time out he caught a wet turf course. Many of these European entrants shipped to North America looking for firm. Plus, he is going to get Lasix for the first time. So maybe it's best to sort of treat this horse as a first-time starter. He is going to have to overcome that pace.
The pace is the thing that concerned me, but to me, it feels like if you are looking for maybe a fresh face or a horse that is I don't want to say an unknown, but maybe we haven't seen what he's capable of just yet. Powered Down sort of fit that bill for me. First time Lasix for all the reasons that you laid out. I'm going to excuse the first two starts. And I thought he ran into a decent enough field in that most recent run. Third place finisher came back and earned an 80 buyer in his next start. So maybe Powered Down. Again, the pace I think is going to compromise him a bit. But if you're looking for a complete sort of stranger, maybe this is the one.
The number 6 of Good Report is one of only 2 multiple race winners in this field. He has won 2 in a row for the Doug O'Neill barn, and we have a formulator fact for O'Neill. Over the past 5 years with only 3-year-olds, these are last out winners going second off the layoff, 31% winners, a $2.41 ROI, good tactical speed. I thought it was a solid win against weaker company last time out. He's stepping up in class, but the Fig 2 back kind of puts him in the mix.
Now, the concern I had with that is I agree with you. If he can run back to that 73, he's right there. And look, the most recent run of a 69, not that far off from it, but that run 2 starts back on synthetic, it does make me wonder. That was far and away the best number he's ever earned so far. Is he a horse that really appreciates that kind of a surface as opposed to the grass? He's fine on grass. There's nothing really wrong with him. He's just a little bit light on figs.
Perhaps it's time for a wake-up for the number 7 Urban Light, who's listed as a first-time gelding. And let's be honest, he's taking a substantial class drop in this race out of the Singletary, where the winner, Neptune Storm, came right back to win the Cinema with an 83 buyer. The third finisher came back to win a 1X with an 81. And in the race 2 starts back was against stakes horses like Reheka and Irish Heatwave. So Urban Light's getting class relief, is a gelding for the first time. You've got to respect anything Phil D'Amato puts on a racetrack.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you want to keep in mind, the first 2 starts in the States here, maybe you want to give him a benefit of the doubt for the 6.5 down the hill, but in both of them, he didn't get any pace to run at, and this is a horse that also does his running from off of it. And you brought up the class situation where he's getting significant relief here this time around on Friday afternoon. Again, the pace does concern me a little bit. Is he going to have enough to run at? But if you, again, want a horse that has figures to take a step forward here in this race on Friday, maybe it's him.
Well, let's take a look at our top selections for the Friday race of the day. Matt, you mentioned you like the 2 Nolde. Another good trip is coming, and he really seemed to appreciate the turf in his initial start on the surface. I'm going to go with the 8 Order and Law, who benefited from a nice pace to win the Laurel Futurity on turf way back in September of last year over Yielding Going, but I don't think he ran badly last time out. It was his first start off a short layoff, and he got hung out 4 wide going into the first turn, 3 wide in between horses in the second turn, only beaten a length. The third place finisher came back to run second in the Desert Code with an 80 buyer. I think this horse fits with this company, and I think he can actually be close to the pace.
I could see a situation where he's actually up there right off Nolde, maybe sitting in third, maybe 3 wide going into the first turn. And if that's the case, and maybe you look at it and say, you know what, Nolde, as impressive as you were, it was against maidens. Now you're going to need to take on better horses this time around. With Order and Law, look, I kind of look at it and say he's not far off from a numbers standpoint. He's going to be a much better price than either the 2 or the 3. The 3 is going to be pace compromised more likely than not. I think this is an interesting horse in here at a decent price.
Proud Pedro figures to get bet. He's got the best last buyer. Maybe it was pace-aided. We'll try to go against him. Give me numbers.
2, 3, 5, and 8.
I'm going 8, 3, 2, and 7 in race number 7 at Santa Anita on Friday. It's your DRFBets Race of the Day, and make sure you take advantage of that money back offer. Play $7 to win on any one horse in the race of the day. If your selection finishes second or third, you get your money back. Promos.drf.com is where you go. Race number 7 at Santa Anita on Friday has an approximate post time. Our roulette's not in yet. 4 o'clock Pacific. Best of luck.